We're calling this meeting to order. It is 6 p.m. We are here for the El Centro City Council meeting of Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, our first official meeting of the calendar year. Happy New Year to everyone. We're back. So with that, I'd like to ask Madam City Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Councilmember Ellett,
Present.
Councilmember Camarena, here. Councilmember Marroquin,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter,
Present.
Mayor Oliva.
Present.
We
I
have
could
a
please,
quorum.
thank you, Madam City Clerk. If I could please ask Councilmember Camarena to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd all indulge me, please remain standing. Mayor Pro Tem Carter will lead us in an invocation.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you simply saying thank you. We come to you asking you, Lord, just to strengthen the families that are going through the fires, Lord, that are going through all the situation, the hardship of everything that they have lost. We ask you just to go into the hospitals, Lord, to the people that have been sick and shut in. We're asking for you just to take control of the north, the east, the south, and the west, and mainly put your hands on El Centro. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. If everyone could take a seat. Thank you, colleagues, for your help. All right. Colleagues, next we move on to the public comment portion of our agenda. As you know, this is a public meeting. If there is an item on the agenda in which the general public wishes to be heard, we please ask you to fill out a blue speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk. At this time, we will go ahead and take any public comment that is within the jurisdiction of the city of El Centro, but not agendized. So this would be a general public comment period. Is there anybody from the general public that wishes to speak?
We don't have any.
None physically present or online?
None, no.
None? Okay.
And we also skipped the city attorney's report.
Thank you. I will go right back to that. But public comment is also duly important, so we're going to go ahead and do the public comment. So seeing no public comment indication from the general public going once, going twice. All right, we're going to go ahead and close the public comment period for this general session. So now we're going to go and ask for the city attorney to report on any closed session items.
Mr. Mayor, there is no reportable action from closed session.
All right, thank you so much. Colleagues, we do have a request from staff to take an item out of order, which is item number 15, in order to accommodate staff presentation and consultants. So what I would like to ask is if we could take up the consent agenda, and if you would allow me and indulge me to, after the consent agenda, jump into item number 15. I would appreciate it. So if any indication, any opposition to that, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward in that regard. So appreciate the indulgence. So as of now, we will entertain any motion or comment related to the consent agenda, which are items 1 through 7.
I will motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve made by Marroquin,
I'll second.
second by Mayor Pro Tem Carter. Madam Clerk, you could please open the vote roll. All right, so items 1 through 7 pass 5-0. Thank you, colleagues. Now we'll go ahead and move on to item number 15. And this is the department presentation on sidewalk trip hazard reduction efforts led by Abraham Campos.
All right. Hello, Mayor. Good evening, honorable Mayor and council members. Thank you for advancing this item as we have a consultant who's out of town. And I know it's kind of cold out there and windy, and we're having to return out to San Diego. Right now, this is a project that I wanted to make the council aware of. Precision Concrete Cutting has been doing quite a bit of work for the city of El Centro, helping us reduce trip hazards. They are a JPIA member there with a master agreement. So we're piggybacking either on that agreement and other master agreements to help advance and reduce risk on trip hazards. But with that, I'd like them to come up. We have Isaac Lopez and Parker Yoakum, who will be doing a quick presentation on the project and what it is and how this will continue moving forward for the city of El Centro.
Mayor Oliva, Mayor Pro Tem Carter's, council members and staff, thanks for taking the time to hear our update and a report on some of the improvements we've been able to help with the city of El Centro regarding trip hazards throughout the city. Precision Concrete Cutting has been the premier trip hazard removal specialist company in Southern San Diego for the last 23 years. On the screen are some of the other cities that we've had the opportunity to work with. We're very proud of the opportunity and work that we've been able to do recently with the city of El Centro, and wanting to give you guys a little bit more context around that. Specifically, what we do at Precision Concrete Cutting is we specialize in the slicing of trip hazard repairs. So as opposed to traditional concrete grinding or removal and replacement of those panels, we have a specialized process that allows us to slice vertically those raises and bring those into full ADA compliance, both on the slope and scope of those hazards at about 80% of the cost savings of traditional remove and replace. Hazard repair takes about 20 minutes. There's no sidewalk closures necessary. It's a clean process that allows us to address as many hazards for as cheap as possible for the city. Specifically regarding the city of El Centro, what we've been able to do, we have been doing small amounts of work on and off for the last 3 years, since about 2022. Total number of trip hazards that we've been able to address up to this point are 356 locations. We're grateful for Abraham Campos, Gabriel Martinez, and the Department of Public Works, who were able to go out and identify certain high priority areas where there were a number of trip hazards that were either a concern for them or for local residents throughout the city. Over these 3 years, we've been able to focus on repairing these hazards between 1/2 inch and 2 inch of repairs through the slice method, saving the city an estimated $440,000 from a traditional remove and replace budget in order to get those sidewalks to ADA compliance. Some of the other benefits that the city has enjoyed, as opposed to long periods of working or sidewalk closures, those repairs, 356 repairs, were able to be completed on and off over the 3 years on only 15 working days to conduct those repairs. During that time, we were able to make sure that compliance was reached, that they were within ADA alignment, and help the GIS department build out a sidewalk map that has allowed them to track and monitor your sidewalk assets on a GIS layer and be able to understand and calculate, right, the perceived benefits and benefit from that those trip hazard repairs. Here's an example on South 11th Street of one of those repairs. You can see on the board on the left side that there was a trip hazard about 1.5 inches high in its vertical height. And then on the right, you have what that before picture would look like maybe from a distance, and then afterwards what those repairs are looking like. So triangular portions of concrete removed in order to get rid of any height differential and then bring that into ADA compliance, making sidewalks more accessible and walkable for the general public. What we've been able to do is a relatively reactive program based on some of the limitations, whether that's budget or resources, time, where we've been able to have city staff identify what areas are the most problematic that we've been able to come out and help to. Some of the best practices that we're recommending is a more proactive approach, similar to what other cities in Southern California have done, where we're able to proactively go out and get a sidewalk assessment or condition report of high priority areas, get you GIS data and allow the city to make good decisions with good data. And then through the master service agreements that we have with CJPIA and your other insurance pools, allow you to go out and remediate those trip hazards for 20% of the typical cost of remove and replace. So we are appreciative of the relationship we've had with the city of El Centro. We're proud of the improvements that we've been able to make. We're grateful for our relationship with your Department of Public Works and their willingness to address these priorities. And our hope is that we can continue, right, this good work and be able to create a more a preventative approach, right, in identifying, analyzing, and then focusing on remediating those specific drip hazards. So it was just a quick presentation. I wanted to give you an overall view on what your Department of Public Works has been able to do the last couple of years. If there's any questions, I would love to field those for council members or anyone who has any questions regarding the program.
I think if there's no questions, I just want to point out that this is another tool in our tool chest here. So this is not building new sidewalks, but it's advancing quite a bit the efforts on removing trip hazards. So this combined with our efforts such as CDBG, road expansion and so forth, not only are we adding sidewalks with new projects and new construction, in CDBG, we're replacing curb ramps in multiple areas in the city, many times located around or centered around parks or areas of senior citizens and so forth. But we're also attacking wider the trip hazard problem. It has been a concern from city council and the citizens. We've heard that, we're acting, and we're looking at those master agreements so that we can expand this into more. This was a pilot for us initially. That's why we're bringing it right now as a result of those internal pilot that we did. We're finding good success. Other educational institutions or schools here in the county have been using these as well, starting to use this as well. I imagine additional folks or cities might be jumping in on board on this as well. It's a very cost-effective method, very quick, low impact to the public, no very limited downtime as the repairs are done, and we can get quite a bit in a little bit of time. Well, want to share really quick a quick link if it works. Our infrastructure management coordinator Gabriel prepared this for us using information from GIS from the vendor, as well as combining it with other projects. I got it here, I guess. So what you can see here is the same information that was provided in the green as the markers for the trip hazards, and the yellows in this map, for example, are the CDBG locations which will be targeted with new ramps or sidewalks that are missing or are non-compliant right now. Our intent is to continue updating this tool at a point, make it available to the public here so they can see the projects that are coming in and where the impact is being had right now. So with that, we basically, the idea would be to have this more available as well as perhaps like a photo of the location of what was repaired. And this is being built on an ongoing basis. So with that, I'll have I'll entertain any questions or comments.
Mr. Mayor, you have, I saw a photo of the nice cutting machine, it's sawing vertically. It has, I'm assuming it has dust abatement. Do you use any water too at the same time? I'm just curious.
No, sir. It's a completely waterless
Dry.
system, dry vac system, dual dry vac system that's connected.
A nice
to it.
dust abatement. Okay.
Yes, virtually zero dust.
Great. Thank you.
I have a question just out of curiosity. So once you slice it, how do you ensure that it's secure? You know, I mean, do you use some kind of a compound to glue it in place, or and then are there any risks of it relifting?
Yeah, so what we will do is we will remove the raised portion, right? And we'll completely remove that, right? And recycle, right? Whatever that debris may be. There's always a risk. Sidewalk is tricky. There's always a risk that will continue to move if there's a tree or if there's erosion, something underneath. There's always a chance. What we've seen, it's about a 13% chance that there will be regrowth on something that's cut. The great thing is due to its economical standpoint that even if you had to go back 2 or 3 years later to readdress it and slice it again, you're still a fraction of the price of a complete remove and replace. So you always run the chance, unless you're addressing the actual problem, that there is some regrowth. But what our engineers have found is that that's why we'll cut up to 2 inches, is that on a standard 4-inch pour, you're able to remove 2 inches of concrete while still guaranteeing the structural integrity of the slab.
That was my question.
Good question.
Wow.
Good question,
Pretty
yes.
cool. This is great option, to repair all of those sidewalks that we've been getting so many complaints about.
We think
It's
so
like,
too.
yeah,
Yes.
thank you. And not only that, reducing our liability because of
Yes.
trips and, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Abram, this map with the greens, these are all the identified trip hazards. This is like, you said, high risk. It can't be every raised piece of cement in the city, right?
Be surprised. Not everyone, no, of course not. The green ones are areas that have been repaired already. And then the
Oh.
yellow ones are planned. Are coming
The
up.
greens
and
of what you've repaired already.
It's complete and done.
Awesome.
And the yellow ones will start construction probably in the next month or so.
So that's the whole city? I mean,
Well, there's a lot more to the city, but it's a start.
No,
There's
no,
a
yeah,
lot-
but I'm
there's
just-
a lot more needed.
that's my question. How much more do you have to do? It's just the yellow, so far the yellow ones are the high priorities now.
When the Precision Concrete does a really nice job, and they didn't share right now their own platform. But what they will do is, my vision here is divide the city into quadrants and allow us assign a budget per year
Mhm.
to
Oh,
this, and basically create some
Awesome.
type of rotation in the city as we move forward through different areas. Once we give them a rotation and say, on this year, this is the quadrant of the city you will go to, they'll go and walk and inspect up until the point that the money is depleted. They locate and tag every location, as you saw here, with GIS. They physically locate on the map the location. They take pictures. They measure, same as you saw here. So every repair is measured before and afters for accountability for JPIA. In case there's a claim later on, we can say, if we have this program for trip hazards, this is what we're doing to alleviate it. And that's the goal, create a rotation program. As I mentioned, this is JPI does have a master agreement and talks to other agencies. I did reach out to JPIA and they referenced me to the master agreement. So I'm looking at that agreement. And the next step would come back to the city council at a future date with a master agreement and a budget, right? So that we can create that cycle of going around the different quadrants of the city.
So these yellow ones are the priorities right now, and then we're gonna consider the quadrant idea of once a year.
Correct. So
Per
the
year.
yellow ones are actually new construction. Is the CDBG project that
Oh.
was awarded December, I want to say, of just a month ago. It's new work. It's new ramps, where ADA ramps, new sidewalks. So the yellow ones are not repairs. They're new construction.
Well, I thought you said that the green ones have already been repaired.
The green ones have
Sliced.
already been repaired, yes. The yellow
So-
ones are new construction coming up.
Yes, okay. So what do we have left to slice then?
If I may. Undetermined, right? Due to what we were able to address at the time, we haven't been able to go through and evaluate the city
Okay.
for the remaining trip hazards.
Yes.
Part of what this program that Abraham's proposing allows us to go out and collect the data and say, Councilmember Ellett, this is the number of trip hazards that remain in this section. Here is the priority that we'll take to address the highest ones first, and this is how much we'll be able to do with the proposed budget. But that gives you an actionable plan on understanding what is the scope of the conditions of the sidewalk in that area, and then
Yeah.
present a plan on how to repair and address.
Great.
Can
Thank
I
you.
ask, when it comes to what my colleague's question is and the responses that you're giving, is there a hotline, an email, or even an app where residents can report so that we can get assistance by the residents themselves in reporting some of these to help in the effort?
Yeah, so the citizen support portal here in the city of Centro, the Fix It, it has where you can report a location. I just want to remind, at the end of the day, for California Vehicle Code, the responsibility on sidewalks and trip hazards still lies on the owner. That's just state law. It's not a city of Centro issue. What this program will do is it will help. right? We won't be able to solve every location. And because of the timing of the program and budget permitting, we might not get to everything. At the end of the day, it's the property fronting the sidewalk who's ultimately responsible for that sidewalk. This we hope that will help minimize those instances and may in a way help the community, but ultimately the liability and the requirement to maintain the sidewalks is on the owners, not the city. Just want to make that clear as well. So this is a program that helps quite a bit the residents, but and the city in terms of liability for tripping hazards. That's why we're focusing in many times along high traffic areas. There might be a sidewalk in a block where nobody walks, or maybe doesn't have any houses, but there's a sidewalk there, right? So maybe that's a different priority sidewalk versus something that's right in the seniors, around the senior center, or around the school, or around City Hall, a county building. There's other factors that we need to take in mind as well.
Seeing no other questions, colleagues, if you have any other questions, please feel free to email Abraham that you may not have thought of in the moment, but this is an informational item, right? So there's no vote necessary for this item. So if that concludes your presentation, then
That concludes. Thank you very
all
much.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Abraham.
All right, colleagues, we now go back to our regularly scheduled program of new business, which, if you think about it, we're on time because new business states it starts at 6:20 and it's
Okay.
6:21. So we're
You're
getting there.
good.
We're getting there. We're getting there. So that brings us to item number 8, the appointment for interim city manager, presentation by Dulce Bedoya, our human resource director.
Good evening, Mayor Oliva and council members. Here before you is the recommendation of appointment for interim city manager. The city council has interviewed and has determined that Daniel Paramo has the specialized skills to serve as the interim city manager and wishes to hire Daniel Paramo as the interim city manager, subject to the terms and conditions in the resolution attached. The terms of this agreement is for a 6-month period from December 17, 2024 through June 16, 2025, or such other period as he reaches 960 hours of work. Daniel Paramo's hourly rate will be $115.39, and again, that is per hour. With this, it is recommended the adoption of resolution of the City Council of the City of Centro establishing the compensation and employment terms for Daniel Paramo to fill the position of interim city manager.
Madam City Clerk, this is resolution 25-01. 02.
I
Got it.
believe, Mr. Mayor, you have a statement to read.
I do, but I still wanted to ask that question first, just because it adds up. So it is required by law that I read the following. Government Code 54953 requires that before approving the compensation for any executive position, such as that for the city manager, the mayor shall make a statement setting out the salary benefits to be paid to that person, except as those otherwise are consistent with what other employees receive. Item number 8 is a resolution confirming that the appointment of Daniel Paramo to the position of interim city manager. Mr. Paramo's compensation will be $115.39 per hour, up to a total of 960 hours. He will receive reimbursement at the same level as any other employee. He does not have a car allowance or other benefits. I have just now satisfied stake requirement by reading that. So now we can go on to conversation, questions, comments, or motion for item number 8.
I'll give a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve item number 8 by Mayor Pro Tem Carter,
I'll second.
or a second by Councilmember Marroquin. Madam Clerk, if you can please open the vote. All right, that item passes 3-1-1. All right, moving on to item number 9. Approval of change order 3 to Rove Engineering related to the Southern Pump Station project.
Hi, good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. I can't get that right today. I apologize for that. And so this is a continuation of an item, and there's going to be other items related to this going into the future. This is the Southern Pump Station project, and I'll show you a quick map of where it is before I go on what it is. The project is located in the south side of the city. It benefits the area between A Street and Dogwood and between McCabe and I-8 generally. This is a sewer pump station, a lift station that would allow growth in this area in the future. The project was approved mid last year for construction. We've been working with a contractor to find ways to expand what we can do for the money, to do some value engineering, to get more of the project done. The project supports our strategic plan. It's one of those projects that is written into a strategic plan, and it benefits not only the existing residential projects in that area, planned residential projects in that area, but commercial also in that area. So we're looking forward to this project to help expand and open this quadrant of the city. As I mentioned, there's a pump station that's being proposed. This is at the intersection of Farnsworth and Dannenberg, where the star is at, more or less. And it won't look exactly like that, but it generally like that. It'll be a little house out there, a little shed, and that's what the public will see at the end of it, unfortunately. The vast majority of the cost is underground. Under that little house that you see there, there's about 20 feet deep a well and a lot of equipment to move sewer around to get it to where it needs to go. The project has multiple phases. It was bid in multiple phases to allow the project to be awarded. So when it was awarded by council, we only awarded phase 1A, which is this. Phase 1A, it includes the orange lines and the red lines. The orange line is a gravity main. It's a deep sewer. It allows sewer to flow into the pump station, and from there is forced or pressurized into that red line, which goes and sends the sewer to the east. As you can see right now, it doesn't really have a lot of sewer going into it. Nothing's going into it. As based on this drawing, the complete picture of phase 1A and 1B, the green line and the orange line needs to flow into it to get sewer to that pump station so it can function. Right now, we move the project forward as is like that. What it's taken us a couple months to work with the contractor to see how we can value engineer. We revise the scope, size down a little bit the pump station, remove some fancy fences that we had in there. I'm saying fancy, but they're needed, but we replaced, for example, block wall with chain link fence in some areas to save cost. There was a building and we replaced that with a lower cost building to save money, and we remove a little bit of the scope from the orange line. So the change is subtle, but you can probably locate from the orange line got on the bottom of the red one got a little shorter. That allows us to extend phase 1B, the green line, further to the west. It's still not where it needs to go, but it allows us to move forward. So there's today a change order for 300,000 and change, 300 for change order 3 that takes into account the cost savings plus the added cost to get us to this point. So that's change order 3 and what you will be voting if today. What's still pending is this little portion that I'm circled here of phase 1B to make the pump fully functional and allow this project to be complete. I'm working with finance and to look at our available budget in the wastewater enterprise fund and come up with ideas. We believe we can make this happen. The project has already been bid as part of the road and engineering construction bid. We're just trying to reincorporate this piece. As soon as I have that, I'll come back, but I'm still working with finance, understanding our budget, see where we're at. As soon as I have solid numbers, I'll come back later to hopefully reincorporate this and make the project whole. For now, we're just voting on adding this portion here for the change order 3. This allows the project to continue to move forward, and that's why I did not wait to bring you the complete project, because allowing this little piece to move forward right now allows the project to continue while we have that Dannenberg Road closure in effect. That way it doesn't delay us, doesn't cost us more money later on, and allows the project to continue to move forward. With that, this is a big project for the city. It's one of the major projects that has been identified for almost 2 decades now for the city of El Centro. And prices have always gone up. They continue to go up. And so that's why we're moving forward right now before they move up again. There's a generous contribution there from the ARPA funding that's tied to this contract, as well as capacity fees and wastewater enterprise funds. The initial approved budget is the 12,394,968. And at the bottom, the proposed revised funding, all sources remain the same, except the wastewater enterprise fund, which is the one that's absorbing the change order. This $326,000 change order is being absorbed by the wastewater enterprise fund. So that increases the total budget from the 12.394 million to 12,721 million. With that, I'm happy to respond and entertain any questions and expand on the cost and the scope of the project that's needed. Questions?
Questions?
I just have one question. This, just to clarify, that area that's all septic right now, and is that why that's all going?
So, yeah, so it's twofold. It's a twofold question, I guess. Beverly Lane, Bell Lane, that quadrant is septic right now. And obviously the homes that are south, the residential developments that are already there are not septic. They go to an existing lift station that's located in this where I'm pointing, right in the middle right there.
Yes.
So that flow will be diverted from these homes will be diverted to the southern pump station. It currently goes east and eventually makes it all the way to La Brucherie. And so there has been in the past some concerns about odors in the La Brucherie Wake area. That this we're hoping and we're expecting that will help, as that flow is going to be diverted somewhere else, and for other reasons, the flow will have lesser contact in the mains and not generate that H2S, which is the odor causing gas. So that's why. So yes, and back to your question, there's septic in this area, and there's the other ones are not. Right now, we have two subdivisions being proposed, Willow Bend and Gailey. They will need this pump station to be functional for them to be able to move forward, and that's why we're advancing this project as well.
Thank you.
Another question. Abram, maybe with your highlighter, you could, because I was fortunate enough to sit in your office with you with this map. Maybe you could highlight all of the real estate that this project is going to make available to city sewer with the annex and all, with just,
Sure.
how big of an area this is this is gonna benefit.
Yeah, definitely. So in this map, what you can see is highlighted in green is the area that will be impacted or benefited by this project. It doesn't mean that the sewer is there at this point. It's the dashed lines there are future lines, but without this southern pump station, none of that is possible. There's nowhere to connect to at this point. This is a main trunk sewer. It's about 18 feet deep. So we will be digging on that number 18 feet down to allow that sewer main. And that's deep enough to be able to be extended throughout and radiating out of that area and go all the way to McCabe on the south, 8th Street on the west, and Dogwood on the east, and all the way to the freeway. So it's basically a landmark historical project here for the city as it opens up this whole quadrant for future development.
But this land that has, like this vacant land, can you maybe highlight that's all gonna be now able to get sewer services?
Yes, for example, Willow Bend is vacant right now. There's a housing development being proposed. I think it might be coming up in next month's council agenda for review. So that will allow that project to move forward, which is housing that's needed. The Gailey subdivision is also being developed. It's currently vacant land. There's this quadrant by Dogwood.
Right.
The west side of Dogwood doesn't have sewer right now. The east does. But there's no way to send the sewer from the west side of Dogwood to the east side of Dogwood. So that's what's holding up that commercial development in this area, because there's no available sewer right now. So this project will allow and have and give these projects an option to move forward.
Thank you.
I do have one comment or question, and that is you certainly made the argument for the merits of it. And what I want to ask you is about, to put into perspective the cost of this change order as it relates to the current fund of the enterprise fund,
Sure.
so that folks would understand in perspective how much this would impact the enterprise fund. Can you give us a sense of what this cost would mean as compared to what's in there?
Definitely. So I don't have the exact numbers of the enterprise fund, but in general terms, there's more than sufficient funding. So I'm expecting another change order, hopefully come into the council for an amount substantially larger than what I'm asking today. And it's still, we're checking with finance. When I come to that one, I'll be prepared with those numbers so I can give you, but we have the way that the wastewater enterprise fund works is over the years, we build and save for this one-time major capital project. So we've been building and growing that enterprise fund balance so that this is an amount that can be absorbed by that fund. I wouldn't be coming here if it would risk that fund at all, if it would bring us in a deficit or anything like that. That's not the case. The fund can very well and easily cover this expense. I'm hoping to bring more projects to this one. Again, this is a project that has been planned for decades, and the fund has been allowed to build to be able to cover this.
Is it fair to say that the amount of this change order puts a dent, if not less, into the enterprise fund?
That's fair. It's a
And so-
dent. It's
And so
that.
therefore, measuring that against the economic development interest of what this project can do,
Mhm.
it's worth the consideration.
Absolutely correct.
Okay. Any other questions, colleagues? If not, then there's an item before us where we need to give staff direction. So what is the will of the body for item number 9?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll
Okay, we have a
second.
motion by Councilmember Marroquin,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Ellett. Madam Clerk, can you please open the vote? All right, that item passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. So next we move on to item number 10. This is the approval of resolutions to update the designated individual authorized to execute the following for the Permanent Local Housing Allocation Program. Presentation by our Community Services Director, Adriana Nava. And this is Resolution 25-03.
Hello, Honorable Mayor and Council. As part of your staff report, I had included a presentation would be attached, but I didn't receive it to make it in time to prepare packet, so you have a copy before you. It is a presentation from Catholic Charities that some members have already seen, but I wanted to bring you the hard copy since I do discuss it in the presentation. So today, really, we are correcting a minor technicality in the resolutions for these items that were approved in 2024. We specifically named the city manager. The city manager has now retired, and so the state wants us to correct our resolutions to just simply say city manager. But as part of that, because we do have new council members, I just wanted to provide a brief update on these funds. And this is the Permanent Local Housing Allocation Fund. It was pursuant to SB2. So when individuals go and record documents at the county assessor's office when they're purchasing a home, a small portion of that is collected. And that portion then comes back to the city of El Centro and to Colonia, a designated place we have. And so combined for years 2019 through 2023, we received about 2.7 million. And so originally this item came before the council in 2022, and we had one activity programmed. Subsequently in February 2024, we revised our 5-year plan and included a couple of other activities. So the first activity that we have is activity 1, and it is a loan for an affordable housing developer, Chelsea. The amount of that loan is about $500,000, so $520,076. And then we have activity 6, which is for our homelessness program, and that's the presentation that you have before you, that we've partnered up with Catholic Charities. They are receiving the bulk of the funding. They are doing a combination program that we worked a long time to achieve. It is a workforce development / homelessness program. And so we are making strides in that activity, and everything so far has gone pretty smoothly, working with Catholic Charities. And then we have one more activity, activity 7. And the goal of that activity is to do accessibility improvements. So in looking at our housing stock, many individuals have ADA needs, and many times they don't have the funding to improve their restrooms, so that if they have somebody in a wheelchair at home, they can have that, or also a ramp that they may need to get into their home, because when they purchased it, they didn't need a wheelchair, but now due to life circumstances, they need one. And so that's the purpose of that activity. We are working on guidelines for that. And then 5% of the funds are going towards program administration. So that's the staff who works on the day-to-day of these programs. So as mentioned to you, both of the resolutions included in the packet include the language which we have revised now to read: the city manager or his or her designee is authorized to execute the PLHA program application along with all the other documents, and then correcting from the previous one where we listed outright the city manager's name, which we won't be doing that again. But any questions?
Colleagues, any questions, concerns? For item number 10. Now, can I just make a quick
Yes.
question to staff? That is in relations to 10 and 11.
Yes. So
As we kind of look a little ahead, I just want to make sure that we clarify for the public and for council the distinction
Yes.
between the two items. One
So-
being Colonia and another one. Okay, got it.
yes, and you can see I included for the previous resolutions as part of the packet, resolution 24-06, it just says simply City of El Centro. And then for item 11, we included the prior resolution 24-07, which says City of El Centro Colonias. And so that's, we tried with the state to put it all in one pot of money. The state, for their reasons, didn't allow us. So, hence you'll see 2 resolutions, 2 sets of documents for everything.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, is there any requirement that we would have to take items separately, or could we vote in spirit and ask to have the votes?
They will have to be separate, Mayor,
Okay,
because it's
no
by the
problem.
system. Yes.
All right, so just trying to save some time. That's okay. So colleagues, this is going to be for item number 10, and this is the non-Colonia resolution. I think it's 25-03.
Yes, correct.
Is there a motion from this body for direction?
I'll give a motion.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem makes the motion to approve as presented,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilmember Marroquin. If we could please open the vote. That item passes 5-0. And colleagues, we move on to now item number 11, which is essentially theoretically identical, only authorizes a slightly different hat that we wear, but still would make the changes that Adriana just presented to us. And so, if there are any questions for staff? This is item number 11, 25-04.
I have a question just for my own clarification. Could you explain to me what the Colonia area is?
Yes, it is an area generally located east of 8th Street, consisting of roadways like El Dorado, and areas north and south of that. Those areas were used to be a part of the county, became a part of the city. And those areas generally lacked roadways, potable water, and sewer. And over the years, the city has worked towards improving them. But at the state level, they do receive certain times, certain funding designations.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? If not, colleagues, what is the will of the body to give direction for item number 11?
I will motion to approve, please.
We have a motion to approve as presented by Councilmember Marroquin,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Camarena. Madam Clerk, please open the vote, please. That item passes 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we move on to item number 12. So this is going to be a rapid fire of things that are related to me. I'm assuming I'm seeing here. So colleagues, SCAG is the Southern California Association of Governments. Every year they host a General Assembly. And this is where all representatives that represent specific cities throughout Southern California, specifically in Ventura, LA, Orange, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Imperial, that are part of the SCAG region, to come together and adopt the overall platform of SCAG. And so that happens in May, the beginning of May of every year. And so SCAG has asked us to designate a delegate and an alternate. I am asking that you designate the mayor and the mayor pro tem as the delegate and the alternate for this year's SCAG General Assembly.
We need a,
Yeah, we need to vote on it.
oh, okay. So I motion,
Okay, so Councilmember Marroquin makes the motion to approve having the mayor as the delegate, the mayor pro tem as the alternate. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
We have a second. Thank you by Councilmember Camarena. If we could please open the vote. That item passes 5-0. Thank you, colleagues. We move on now to item number 13. This is going to be somewhat long, but colleagues, I had asked for this item to be brought forth because regionally there was some concern about the rate increases that IID was going to impose or discuss. As you may know, there was a public hearing last week. There was an op-ed last night, and unfortunately, the actual vote to approve was earlier today. The purpose of this item would have been to ask you all to authorize me to write a letter to IID doing multiple things, expressing the want to see more public hearings and public outreach in the community of the city of El Centro, to invite them to make a presentation before us here at a near future date, and to request a soon meeting of the 2-on-2, which are the members that we approved in December as to 2 members from this board and 2 members from IID to sit down to get an in-depth presentation on the rate increase. Now, unfortunately, IID did vote on that rate increase already earlier today, and that was a unanimous vote to raise our rates. Now, I still think it's important to ask them to come here and perhaps give us a presentation so that we can be informed, so that the leaders of the city, that include the department heads and staff and our regular attendance here, to also be privy to that information. And so I still would like to move forward and ask you to allow me to write them a letter, to schedule the 2-on-2 meeting, to invite them to present to us, and to still express that we would like to see some public outreach within the city. So that's the purpose of that item.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept that,
Okay,
go forward.
thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Ellett,
I'll second.
a second by Mayor Pro Tem Carter. Madam Clerk, if you could please open the vote. That item passes 5-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
not to prolong that, I know we just voted, but
Go for it.
I just feel like that the ID has a responsibility to explain these things to constituents, even though they had a meeting. But, you know, if people are going to asking us, why did this happen? How did this happen? And we don't have the answers, I would think that they should be here and to do that, out of courtesy of constituents and, again, like transparency and instead of us being on the hook for this. So I appreciate that. Whatever needs to be aired needs to be aired.
Well said. Perfect. Thank you, sir. Yeah,
If I can make a public comment regarding this, Mayor.
Sure, no problem. Do you mind right afterwards filling out that?
Okay.
No, you can
Afterwards.
speak now and then
Yes.
do that.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, members of the council. I was present at today's meeting. I also went to the La Quinta meeting and had a La Quinta. People in La Quinta never knew they were over collected. Imagine 40 people that live in La Quinta who were not aware of the over collection. They made me and the customers like yourselves wait 102 days. Today I challenge them and put it that money that's in that over collection is 300 million. It's up for them to prove me wrong, of course, because I don't believe the piece of paper they gave me anymore. Fortunately, at the vote, they made a commitment to give that money back. I don't know how much yet, because they still need to do the math. But they made that commitment to give it back in March. If there's a minor victory, which is minor, is to give that money that was over collected back to the public, which means goes back to the cities because you got billed, and goes back to every customer that lives in the city of El Centro. I do not like the lack of outreach. When we went to the any outreach program was on one from Calexico, but it was at 2 p.m. I don't know why they don't have meetings at 6 o'clock where people that work are able to attend and participate. And I'm grateful for your leadership in making this resolution. You know, all of you, it's going to affect everyone. I don't believe in the math that was presented. I believe the bill is going to go up $70, not $29. The math is flawed as presented, but you'll find out later when you get your bills right. But that's what I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Pete.
sir.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, colleagues, I think we're doing excellent time. So thank you for the efficiency. Appreciate it. Next, we move on to item number 14, and this has also been placed by myself to ask for your consideration in adopting Resolution 25-05, right? Which would allow us to formally move our closed session time from currently 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. In order for us to be able to get through what we need to get through, be respectful of people's time during the day, from pulling us away from our day jobs, and still being able to be diligent on behalf of the people of El Centro. So that's my request for your consideration, to move the time from 11:30 to 4.
Give a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Carter.
I second.
We have a second by Councilmember Camarena. Are there any discussion, any burning
Oh.
points?
I just would like to say
Mhm.
that as long as we can keep on task and complete all of our agenda items for closed session to those 2 hours so that we don't have to continue after, I'm for it.
Okay,
Okay.
great point. Yes, we certainly want to make sure that we're staying to task. So thank you for that.
Okay.
Members, please vote. That item passes 5-0. We are moving right along. That takes us to the end of the itemized portion of our agenda. So I believe we don't have any task force. I'm sorry, we're at department presentations, which we already did. There's currently no legislative action that is before us. So that moves us now to task force reports from each council member. Any good of the order, anything that you would like to make sure that you are updating your colleagues on. Would anybody like to start? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Councilmember Marquez.
Okey doke, let's see. Oh my gosh, well, as you know, Tomas and I have been involved in a series of meetings on the acquisition of El Centro Regional Medical Center, and those are moving along, so probably more to report at a later date. Let's see, we had our first Community Enhancement Task Force meeting last week. And so thank you, Mr. Campos, for the presentation this evening on sidewalks, because I know that is something that we discussed, during the meeting. And looking forward to more improvements throughout the city when it comes to that. Because as I had shared with you even then, we do get quite a bit of concerns and complaints, from the community. So, and what a really neat way to fix those, to where it doesn't take, pouring concrete, to fix an issue. So thank you for that, Mr. Campos. We also had our homeless task force meeting that same afternoon. And, I'd like to go back to what Mrs. Nava had mentioned earlier. The Working Hands program was an initiative of mine that came to reality, came from an idea. And we put it into place last year with Adriana's help and her crew in economic development, and with funding that they were able to obtain from the state, and to make exceptions on how we could use the funding. And we met with Catholic Charities, actually made a presentation to us last week during the meeting. And I was in awe, because this program has been in place since September of last year. And already we have 2 success stories that have come from this program that puts homeless individuals to work on a part-time basis, working with our own crews of the city to do community cleanup. It's a part-time job, but the Day Center, Catholic Charities Day Center, was an integral part of this project. And so that is their meeting place. They go in there, get ready for the workday. They are then they have breakfast before they go out. They go out to work with our city crews in vehicles that the city donated to Catholic Charities to be able to transport not only the crew, but all of their working equipment. And then once their shift is over, then they come back. They are then there for lunch, and their workday is done. But what I was in awe about is that in this short period of time, we already have 2 success stories. One individual that they helped with a resume, and he applied for a job with UPS. He was hired, and he is now housed. And so, that is one individual that we have now, taken off the streets. Another individual that also is participating in this program, that is now housed, and I'm sure that it's just within a matter of time, they'll be able to find other employment. And I know that we have a waiting line of individuals that are waiting to participate in this program. And so, I will continue to advocate for more funding to keep this going, because, even just one person off the streets is a huge success, and we've turned that person's life around. And I just, when Antoinette from Catholic Charities shared that story with us, it brought tears to my eyes, because I just was in awe of the fact that this became a reality. And we've helped, and 2 individuals already. So I just cannot wait to see what comes of this in the future. So thank you so much for all of the work that Adriana and all of her crew and her team, put into this, to make this a reality. So with that, I will conclude my presentation.
Thank you.
I went off on a.
No, it's
So
very
I'm just- it's
informative, very
something that
enlightening.
I'm just passionate about.
It shows, but very much so. No, I mean, it merited it, very much so. Talking about people's lives, right?
Yeah.
Councilmember Camarena, would you like to be next?
Yeah, I just would like to just say that it's been a busy month for me, probably for Mr. Allen as well. Been spending our time meeting with department heads, getting information and learning about the city and the state of each department and so forth. There's been a couple of things that have surprised me, one being the number of temporary employees that are almost full-time, that are based on the length of time they've been here, or at least should be, in my opinion. Also looking at the fact that there's a paper time sheet that employees use, that it's not electronic. And I think that's something very surprising for the city, that it's not up to par with something like that. And also looking at being placed on a variety of ad hoc report committees and so forth. looking at information. I was supposed to go to one of them, but there was some misinformation given and I wasn't able to go, but I plan on being at the rest of them. Also looking, I had also requested a meeting on homelessness to discuss because I know that that's something very important for the city residents and businesses. Didn't make it on the agenda. Maybe I'm just learning how I need to do it properly, but hoping it will be for the next one. And looking to see also how I can follow through on some of the items that I ran on when I was campaigning, being able to meet with constituents. I do have information for those that contacted me regarding the armed guard at Buckland Park. I'm reading that right now. I'm also reading, let's see, a couple of other things that I'll report on later, but it's been a busy month and I look forward to many more.
Thank you. Councilmember Elliott?
Sure. Just to start off, probably about, well, like Claudia said, we've been really blessed, been able to meet with a lot of department heads and feel, learn a lot. I'm very thankful for that. It's been very, very productive, very helpful. About a month ago, I attended an emergency preparedness meeting put on by the county. And so I don't know how El Centro fits, but we were not represented. I'm just saying that maybe we should, make a little, I don't know if we officially are connected or included, but there was no mention of anything like that. It just seemed like a whole separate entity and no one else included. So I think we need to tap into that and be part of that, that emergency preparedness talk there, that discussion there at the county. And then I was able to go to the Trusted Healthcare ribbon cutting, new healthcare center coming to home healthcare and business in El Centro on Imperial Avenue. That's a benefit. That's great. And another really interesting thing that my wife and I were able to attend was a cadet ball at Southwest High School. They have a cadet program, it's kind of like, I don't want to say paramilitary, but it's like pre-military. How's that? And so Mr. Officer Brown has a son there, and it was great to see these young kids in their uniforms and the degree of respect and how they carry themselves and how this is helping their lives, improving their lives. Very positive. There was one young man that introduced himself to me wearing a slightly different uniform, explained to me, high school student, I think he was probably a sophomore or junior by then, maybe a sophomore. He was kicked out of school, whether for grades, truancy, whatever it was. He was kicked out of school. He was in the cadet program. He worked his way through the cadet program to work his way back into high school. And now he's doing well. He's not a straight A student, but he's on track. And so it's just a great thing. And how I believe Mr. Officer Kelly was telling me this morning that from PALS and a program like this, these cadets, that we have, how many officers have you said?
We have a total of
8 employees, not all officers, but sworn, but 8 employees from these feeder programs. These are our own people. This is so positive and it's so great to see this and see these young people acting like adults. It was great. So that was a big bonus. And then this morning, again, another swearing in of 3 more officers, young people from this area. One was from Mexicali, but they're all, and because of your, the budget that you have, able to send them to academy, and they're going to complete that in 3 months, 6 months. Okay, but that's the normal. That's a good time instead of a year going around themselves. So these are local people. One of the kids was from Hopeville. They are eager to go through the academy, or they're going to get beat up really badly, and ready to come and join our police force. This is great. This is really good news. I'm very excited about that. Then we had, not to mention, coffee with a cop a while back at Starbucks. It was great to see a lot of folks there. Very good public relations. This is very, very helpful. And then, of course, our tour of the new facility, the new police department, is amazing. And you know, I mean, even though I got to go with Abraham, I mean, you can't spend long enough to talk about every little section of the building. It's amazing. So that is a huge accomplishment. This morning was also the charging station, ribbon cutting at the library. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Elliott. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm taking you back to December 17th, remember? So I have a little lengthy list, but I'm going to go through it really fast. I attended the Trusted Care grand opening, phenomenal event. I also attended the ACLU celebration. That was also a phenomenal event. And then we had our employee service award here, and it was very nice just to see all the employees get to be a part of handing out silverware to them and plates to them, because then you got to greet everybody. So I really enjoyed that. So the employee service award. Then I also attended Dr. Saday's grand introduction. Yeah, that was nice as well. He's having another one coming up too. I need to look into that. But yes, his event, he welcomes us. So if anybody else is interested in going, he said just to spread the word. We also had our hospital board meeting, and the task force to end homeless meeting. We had that one as well. Then we had the Imperial County Board of Supervisors swearing in ceremony. That was a packed house. We were even there 15 minutes early, and it was just standing room only. Like there was no room. So that was a packed house. Very nice event. We did, my 2 weeks off. I met with a lot of the community people around our community. They're interested in their voice being heard. So I of course, I'm going to listen. So I met with a lot of them, and they wanted to know about different programs that we had for the homeless, different things that we were thinking about with the homeless. And since Councilmember Cabrera and I are on the downtown committee now, we went and we met with IVCCC, the homeless task force. We met with them just so we can get ideas of where they're coming from and what they have. Then we also went and did a tour of the methadone clinic. Very interesting. Yes, and then they're even willing to come and talk or give any type of brochures, any advice. They're willing to. They don't want to be strangers or disconnected with us. They feel like a lot of people don't want that connection. But I think it's time for us to open up different doors, because we do have a homeless problem that we need to check into. And then I want to thank everyone that was involved in the tour of the EC PD department. That was nice. It was nice just to go up. We went up some stairs that are not even, oh man, I was like, okay, Danny. We went up the stairs. It was very nice. It was very nice. The tour was nice. The gentleman, what was his name? Do you remember his name? The one that guided us through the tour?
Oh, he was the construction manager.
Yes, he explained everything in detail. He gave us a orientation on everything. Who else was there with us? It was a lot of us there, but he explained everything in detail, and I'm just excited about seeing the outcome of it. And then thank you to our staff for the Mardi Gras Gala. That was very nice, witnessing the crowning of the king and queen. Like King Edward said, now every time we see him, we need to approach him as King Edward. I said, okay, King. So, and our Queen Martha, it was very nice event. And last but not least, I did attend the Martin Luther King program at the courthouse steps in honoring of MLK Day on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Appreciate it. Colleagues, I will try to be as brief as possible. As many of you also attended, I also attended the 2024 Employee Service Award. And I highlight it again because we really do want to say thank you to all of the staff for putting in your hard work. And even though that's a small gesture of how we could say thank you, I do want to take this opportunity to look at you all and honestly say thank you for your hard work and for the work that will come this year, because it's another year, right? I also did attend the swearing in Supervisor Martha Cardenas Singh, congratulations to our previous colleague in being elected, and we look forward to working with her as now she represents us at the county level. I also was able to attend a staff swearing in for the police department. We had 2 members a couple weeks ago get sworn in, so we're moving up in our staffing levels, and I'll go into that just shortly. I also attended an AB 617 meeting. The AB 617 meeting has to do with, it's a program created by Assemblymember Garcia that captures fines and fees related to violations of air emissions, as well as capturing some funding from carbon tax reduction credits that are also sold in the market, to be able to help pay for projects that help reduce dust emissions, PM10 and PM2.5 in the corridor. The corridor for this one being Calexico, Heber, El Centro. And so this committee has sometimes millions of dollars of funding in order to help fund projects that reduce emissions. And some of those projects has to do with paving a never before paved piece of land, such as an alleyway, a park, in order to reduce dust emissions. We were able to allocate funding for school districts to be able to purchase electric vehicles, to install electric vehicle charging stations at school districts. ICOE, Calexico got some, we got some, I think Meadows got some as well. And so I bring it up because we were able to be successful in helping out our school districts in that regard. And the conversation now goes into how can that funding be able to help with idling and emissions reductions as it relates to vehicle idling along the border, right? So there's been a long regional conversation of how we help fund the traffic congestion issue in Calexico, as if you accept the argument that it's a regional issue, right? That funding mechanism has always come from ICTC. And so within ICTC, they have tasked Caltrans to put together a plan of how they're going to reduce that. The question is, who's going to pay for it? And so I'm going to try to utilize some of the funding within AB 617, along with perhaps either Caltrans and or ICTC to try to help Calexico, which ultimately helps all of us economically, culturally, to try to get some faster, efficient movement along the border, which will help reduce air quality. So those are some of the ties that I'm trying to put together to see if we can help out regionally. We did have some Chamber of Commerce events, so we were able to participate on behalf of the city to welcome in some tax preparation services. We're at that time where you should or will soon get a W-2 in the mail. So this is also a shameless plug, not to highlight the service in and of itself, but just overall the spirit behind why that service exists, which is we're moving on to tax preparation. And so there are new tax preparation services in the city of El Centro, 2 specifically. And so as you search for a service, keep in mind that the Chamber of Commerce could help you and direct you to a service that might meet your needs. Earlier today, we had a charging station ribbon cutting. This was in collaboration with Comité Cívico del Valle, the state of California, and some union workers to be able to provide a public option in being able to charge your electric vehicle. I think other than this option, we previously only had a publicly accessible charging station at Bank of America. And so now the city of El Centro, in collaboration with other stakeholders, have a charging station available right next to our library. So everyone is welcome to use that charging station. Specifically, as we mentioned in this event, if you happen to be somebody that is questioning why you would purchase an electric vehicle and would use the argument that you don't know where to go charge, this can add to that formula as to whether or not you invest in an electrical vehicle. If you happen to live in an apartment, in a townhouse, somewhere where you cannot easily install a charging station in your place of residence, this could add as an option to where you can go and charge and still be able to make that investment. Ultimately, I think the argument here being is that folks that live in what is considered Lithium Valley should be able to afford, hopefully, an electric vehicle as we are providing that lithium for the rest of the world. Earlier today, I participated in the City Selection Committee. This is the committee comprised of all the mayors of all the incorporated cities in Imperial County. And so we met specifically to appoint our representatives at LAFCO. And so I do want to recognize and say congratulations to Councilmember Marroquin, who was selected as the alternate for city representation on LAFCO. So we wish you the best, and we know that you will represent us well.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Lastly, I will just mention, I'm going to be out for most of the rest of the week, as I'll be traveling to Sacramento to meet with State Senator Steve Padilla, his staff, to meet with folks at the State Controller's Office, to lobbying efforts as we move into the legislative agenda. And so I'll be gone for most of that, as well as to preside on, I'm the vice chair of the Environmental Quality Committee for Cal Cities, so that will be on Friday. And so I will be doing some things remotely, but being gone for that time to try to fit in some important meetings. So I appreciate you allowing me to travel on your behalf to take care of some stuff that are necessary on behalf of the city. And with that, members, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go into the mayor's mention, and then we'll move on to the city manager's report, if that's okay with you. All right. So staff puts this together. I would like to just look at staff and say, 3 pages seems like a lot. So let's pick and choose. Let's pick and choose. So congratulations to the El Centro Police Department for your staffing levels. Our police department has hired 3 officer trainees, 1 lateral officer, and 1 staff assistant this January, which means we only have 2 vacancies in our police department as we continue to bring our police department up to appropriate staffing levels. Now, although I do get to say that, I've only been mayor for about a month. And so that accomplishment, I do have to give credit. It was an issue that was raised in Mondays with the mayor under the mayorship of Councilmember Marroquin. And so I would like to say that's a lot more her accomplishment than mine, but kudos to her and to the police department for reaching that, because that number was a lot higher before. And so it's now at just 2 vacancies. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Certainly. So I do want to make sure that folks know about our fire department and their participation in the travesty and the devastation that has taken place in Los Angeles. So this is to acknowledge that the fire department has assisted in the Eaton and Palisades fire. The El Centro Fire Department has sent 2 personnel and a battalion chief to the Eden and Palisade fires a few weeks ago. The 2 personnel are at the Palisades fire to translate for team firefighters from Mexicali, or from Mexico, sorry. They are currently still deployed. The battalion chief has safely returned home last week from that fire, and we would like to thank them for their service. So Chief, if you could please relay to, and thank you so much for your staff.
Oh, wow.
Please let that firefighter know that we are with them and that we thank them for their service as they're out there. And please keep us informed, Chief, if there's anything that the council can do to further assist any firefighter individually or as a department as it relates to that. Please have the courage to let us know. Road closures for construction activities. Starting today through the fall of this year, we will have construction on Dannenberg Avenue between Farnsworth Lane and Dogwood Avenue. The construction will include expanding Dannenberg Avenue between 4th Street and Dogwood Road in the next coming weeks. So please be aware of that and factor that into your commuting times, or as you go try to visit the mall. Imperial Avenue Complete Streets Draft Plan is available for community review. This plan provides recommendations for improving safety and access along Imperial Avenue for all modes of transportation. The draft plan and a brief overview are available for community review on our website. You can submit comments via email at ecplanning@cityofelcentro.org or by calling 760-337-4545. This plan will be presented to council on February 6th, where the community can make comments as well. Next, we move on to the Fiesta del Valle Flavor Fest, and that is a community event in collaboration with the city of El Centro and Antonio's Baja Catch 22. That's this Saturday from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. It is at the Martin Luther King Jr. Sports Pavilion. This event is free to attend and will have a variety of local food vendors, live entertainment, and activities for all ages. So please show up with an empty stomach, because they're gonna have food. It will include a cornhole tournament and beer garden for adult beverages. Look for more information on this event at our main social media pages and on our website. Next is Martha Cardenas Singh and Edward Singh were selected as the City of El Centro Mardi Gras King and Queen. The parade for Mardi Gras is set for 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. February 22nd in our downtown area. We would like to say thank you to the Imperial Valley Regional Chamber of Commerce and Los Vigilantes for helping the city coordinate this event. For more information, please visit the city's main social media page and website. And last but not least, I would like to highlight that this Friday and Saturday is the county's point in time count. And so I won't be back to make it to Fridays, but I will be doing Slab City Saturday morning. And so I just want to say thank you to our code enforcement officer, Ana Garcia, for her coordination with that event, along with the County of Imperial. Anybody that is able to attend and participate, please do so, as it helps us be able to fund a lot of projects and programs with the Continuum of Care Council in addressing homelessness throughout the county. That concludes, colleagues, my report, and I'd like to hand it over now to the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. According to the agenda, I have about 30 minutes, but I respectfully request that I be allowed to just maybe reduce it down to a minute.
Yes, please.
If that's okay.
Yes, please.
Because I too have attended most of the events that you all have mentioned. And within the last 30 days has been very hectic, as you all know, especially the newcomers. We all know, we're all feeling it. I did have an opportunity to meet with all the city managers after our ICTC meeting. And so that was very productive and very welcoming from all the city managers. And I did meet with the CEO as well for Imperial County, and a very productive meeting. And we will just continue to just build a strong relationship as we have currently. So, and one thing I do want to add, that Mayor Pro Tem Carter was being very modest, and she did an awesome job as the master of ceremonies out there. Needed no help whatsoever.
Thank you, thank you.
Did a great job. And meeting with the staff, I can't tell you how impressed I am with and you all know this already, it goes without saying, that the department heads that we have here in attendance this evening, the directors are just an awesome group. They do so much for us. So thank you. I can't thank them enough. They've made this transition into this role easy. I'm telling you, it's easy. I'll use the word easy because because of their hard work, they've done it. So thank you. I just wanted to publicly thank you all for doing that. And I do want to express one more thing, is that Buckland Park. And Adriana, what's the name of the system we have there, Buckland Park? Oh my gosh! If you have not gone into that, please go into that. It's wonderful. It's amazing for it. Yeah, the tracking.
Oh,
That tracks the,
You have to get in it if you've not seen it, and it's just going to be wonderful for all of us. And I did have an opportunity to walk. Actually, we actually walked Angel, myself. Angel was a little hungry then, but we had to cut it short. And Adriana, we walked downtown from 4th to 8th. And we're going to get pretty aggressive on trying to clean that up as well. And I understand that they've been doing a really good job in cleaning it up to where it is today. So we'll be working on that. And Councilmember Gomez mentioned some things about personnel issues that definitely you're on target on that we'll be trying to tighten that up as well, looking at evaluations, merit increases, and so on. So just a few things that we've done. So thank you. And thank you for the opportunity.
all right. Colleagues, I think we've come to the end of our agenda, seeing no other business before this body. Our next meeting is February
The 4th.
4th. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and call this meeting adjourned at 7:24. Thank you.